Korbach is the district seat of Waldeck-Frankenberg in northern Hesse, Germany. It is over 1,000 years old and a former Hanseatic town. It is located on the German timber frame road. In 1997, the town hosted the 37th Hessentag State Festival. Geography and Geology. Korbach lies at the northeast edge of the Rhenish Slate Mountains. Neighboring towns and communities are clockwise from the northwest: Willingen, Diemelsee, Twistettel, Waldeck, Vöhl, Lichtenfels and Meadowbach. The town lies on an unwooded tableland called the Waldeck-It that once harbored a great many wild chickens, leading to the town's folk nickname as Feldhörnchen. Not only the main town, but also outlying centers such as Lillbach, Lengefeld, Nordenbeck, Oberenz and Niederenz lie on the Waldeck-It or at its edge. In the eastern part of the municipal area, where the outlying centers of Helmscheid, Stroth and Meineringhausen lie, begins the North Hesse Hills, which stretch from the Rhenish Slate Mountains to the Habichswald Range west of Kassel. In the west lie the constituent communities of Alleringhausen, Epi, Niederschleiden and Hilleshausen in the foothills of the Sauerland. The highest peaks in the Korbach municipal area of the Widderhagen near Rena and the Eisenberg, which despite its name, meaning Iron Mountain, is well known for gold-bearing ore found there. Perhaps more fittingly, the outlying community lying on the Eisenberg is called Goldhausen. Through the main town runs the Korbach, a tributary to the Itter, itself a tributary to the Eder. In a grammatical quirk, the name Korbach, which most German speakers would regard as masculine, is often locally inflected as though it were feminine, die Korbach instead of der Korbach. The Korbacher Spalt, a 20 meters deep, up to 350 centimeters broad and roughly 1 kilometer long cleft in the Earth's surface near Korbach, discovered in 1964, has yielded important fossil finds, indeed the only finds of Procynosuchus in the northern hemisphere. Worth seeing is the Korbach village church, which stands in the middle of the town. Likewise worth visiting is the old castle inside the Hunenkler ringwall near Lengefeld. Panorama of Korbach from Eisenberg Hill. Population 1998 to 24,510, 1999 to 24,552, 2000 to 24,515, 2001 to 24,490, 2002 to 24,537, 2003 to 24,503, 2004 to 24,540. History. Proto-history. On the hill upon which St. Kilian's Church was later built, a Carolingian imperial court already stood by 800. The name Korbach comes from the Old High German Kerbici. Kerbici had its first documentary mention in 980 when Otto II, Holy Roman Emperor, yielded Korbach, Lulbach and Rena to Corvey Abbey. Also in other parts of the municipal area, clues can be found about settlement in early times, as for instance on the Wipperberg near Lengefeld. Middle Ages and early modern times. In 1188, the Bishop of Paderborn granted town rights under SOESD law. Owing to Korbach's location at the crossroads of the Cologne-Leipzig and Frankfurt-Bremen commercial roads, handicrafts and trade quickly developed and Korbach blossomed. The old town was soon no longer big enough to house all the townsfolk. The merchants therefore settled in two new towns, the Upper and Lower Newtown, outside town limits, although these towns did eventually merge into one. In the 14th century, St. Kilian's Church was built in the old town and St. Nicholas's church in the new town. In 1377, the old town and the new town were at last united, and at the former town line arose the United Towns Town Hall, which still stands today. In 1349, Charles IV, Holy Roman Emperor, although at the time he was still only King of the Romans, came to town for a visit. Korbach joined the Hanse and was first mentioned as a member town of the Hanseatic League in 1469, making Korbach the only town in the Bundesland of Hesse to have been a member of the Hanseatic League. In 1414, a double ring of walls surrounding the whole town was finished. 5 town gates kept watch over the town's approaches: the Tranketor, the Dalwiger Tor, the Ense Tor, the Lengerfelder Tor, and the Berndorfer Tor. Only the Ense Tor still stands today. The Padberger Fed from 1413 to 1418 was the culmination of the long border disputes and repeated attacks by the lords of Padberg on the territory of the county of Waldeck and in particular the city of Korbach. This feud found a temporary with this conflict. With the coming of the Reformation, the town, and indeed the whole county of Waldeck, became Protestant. Even nowadays, Korbach is still mostly Protestant, even though beginning in the 19th century, a great number of Catholics moved into the town. On the other hand, the outlying communities to the west on the boundary with North Rhine-Westphalia are almost wholly or mostly Catholic. In the 30 Years' War, Korbach had to make ever greater contributions to the troops who were passing through. By the time the war ended, only half the town's houses were still fit to live in, and the town's population had fallen from 2,600 to 1,100. In 1664, a great town fire burnt almost all the residential houses down. There is only one half-timbered house in town today that was built before the fire. The Gothic stone churches and the stone warehouses from that time, on the other hand, are still well preserved. Niederenz, the constituent community of Niederenz, had its first documentary mention about 1010. Modern times. During the 7 Years' War, the town was the site of the Battle of Korbach on the 10th of July 1760 between the French under the command of Saint-Germain and the Hanoverian, British and Hessian allies under Karl Wilhelm Ferdinand, the hereditary prince. It was only towards the end of the 18th century that a modest prosperity was restored to Korbach. The town first achieved a new economic boom late in the 19th century. Contributing to this in no small measure was the new railway to Kassel that opened in 1893. Moreover, the industrialist Louis Peter established in 1907 a rubber and tire factory in Korbach. The town was mostly spared any great damage in further wars, particularly the 2 world wars. After the Second World War, the population rose sharply as those driven out of formerly German territories to the east flooded into town. The rubber factory continues to dominate the development of the city. It is one of the production sites of Continental AG, one of the major companies in its sector. Politics. Town Council. The Town Council's 37 seats are apportioned thus, in accordance with municipal elections held on the 26th of March 2006. Coat of Arms. Korbach's civic coat of arms might heraldically be described thus: party profess, above, in azure a bishop argent with shawl and mitre trimmed, or in his hand dexter upraised a book, or in his hand sinister a crosier a dexter, below, in or a half-date pointed star sable. The arms come from the town's oldest known seal, from 1236. The human figure in the chief is the Bishop of Paderborn, who granted Korbach town rights in 1188, although it could be his successor Bishop Wilbrand, who had the town's folk swear him in as their overlord in 1227. The aforesaid seal was made not long after this. There is an erroneous belief that the human figure is St. Gillian, the town's patron saint, but this is believed to be rather unlikely, as the figure looks like a bishop. The 8-pointed star, only half of which appears in these arms, is quite a common charge in civic heraldry in Waldeck, the region in which Korbach lies, for the simple reason that it was the arms borne by the Counts of Schwalenberg-Waldeck, who were the town's rulers as the bishop's vassals beginning in 1227. The star shown on the original seal, however, was 6-pointed. This was eventually changed to the 8-pointed version still seen now, to match the star in the Count's arms. The objects that the bishop holds changed in the early days, with some old seals showing him without the book. Also, the original 1236 seal shows him with the two objects transposed, holding the staff in his right hand, not the book. Since 1377, however, the composition still seen today seems to have been settled on. The colors were chosen in 1947. Town Partnership Savranches, Département of Manche, France, since 1963. Waltershausen, Thuringia, Germany since 1990. Pierzyce, Poland. Vysoké Mýto, Czech Republic. Transport. Korbach lies on federal highways 251 and 252, which both conveniently connect to the Korbach bypass. There is no direct connection to the Autobahn network anywhere in the municipal area, the nearest interchanges being on the A44 near Diemelsstadt and Zierenberg, either way about 30 kilometers away. The town is also connected by state highways to Medebach and Diemelsee. Korbach is a railway hub where once 4 railway lines met, one through Brill and Wall to the Ruhr area, one southwards through Frankenberg to Marburg, one northeastwards through Volkmarsen to Kassel, and one southeastwards through Waldeck to Waben. The Bahn from Bad Wildungen to Korbach is out of service. The stretch running to Kassel was reopened on 4 October 1998. The Untitled Bahn is supposed to be reopened in 2006, to connect with the Kallerwald-Edersee National Park. The stretch as far as Korbach Sud was reopened on 29 September 1999. Korbach is somewhat remarkable for a town its size in having 2 railway stations on the same line that are also both in service. Since the original one lay too far from the old town, a further station was built 1.5 kilometers farther south. Even if the line to Kassel is being modernized, people will still notice today the effect of taking one station out of service. Furthermore, the railway alignment through Bad Arolsen and Volkmarsen is quite circuitous, meaning that even today, taking the train to these places can take twice, or almost 3 times, as long as going by car. In 1997, a bus service was instituted in Korbach with 2 looping routes that partly intersect. These buses run at 40-minute intervals, thereby meet each other at the main railway station every 20 minutes. The system also connects important places within the town, such as the inner town, the town hospital or the school center to both routes. There are 2 airfields in Korbach, used only for sport flying and gliding. Sightseeing. Museum Korbach dedicated to the city's history. Kilianskish and Nikolaikish. Old State School. A medieval pillory. Well-preserved town wall in Old Town. Several medieval stone buildings. The Bronze Night Watchman in the pedestrian precinct. The Gold Trail, passing gold mining sites and explaining the history of gold at the Eisenberg. Niederenz Church, built between 1130 and 1140, with Baroque altar by Josias Wohlrad Brutzel, about 1700. Visitors Mine, illustrating a gold miner's situation in the Middle Ages and his everyday work. Georg Victor Tower, 24 meters meters high, affords a panoramic view into the upland as far as the Eder uplands and of Eisenberg Castle ruins. Festivals: Killernsmarkt, Wehrmarkt, Altstadt Kulturfest, Mittelalterlichermarkt, Weihnachtsmarkt. Notable people: August Beer, German surgeon; Christian Karl Josias, Freiherr von Bunsen, diplomat and scholar; Wilhelmine Halberstadt, educator and writer; Elke Heidenreich, writer and television star; Horst Bingel, writer; Hermann Kummel, surgeon; Daniel Angelo Crater, theologian; Bernd Noack, physicist; Matthias Riem, singer-songwriter; Konrad Samuel Schutzfleisch, historian, polymath and librarian; Rainer Schuttler, professional tennis player; Adolf von Hagen, clergyman and history writer; Ernst Welteke, former president of the Deutsche Bundesbank; Jochen Baylor, cross-country skiing trainer.